Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a really exciting new card, which is going to be coming out in... We don't actually know what it's called. It's August set. It's not Unbroken Bonds, our May set. It's actually coming out in August, so we don't know which set it's coming out in. But it's coming out over in Japan pretty soon, and it has an official name. It's called Black Bout. And of course, it is the lovely David Hochmann over at RappelmannTCG on Facebook that did bring us this particular translation. So, with all the preamble out the way, what does it actually do? Well, according to David, it reads, if you have more remaining prize cards than your opponent, the attacks on this Pokemon this card is attached to cost 1 fighting energy less. And as David pointed out on Facebook, and I'm afraid I can do nothing but agree with him here, Energy Gain is back. Kind of. You see, Energy Gain was an extremely popular card that we saw back around when the SP era was a thing. And Energy Gain basically could only be attached to an SP Pokemon, but what it did was it reduced the energy cost by 1 colourless energy. That is pretty gosh darned ridiculous. And it was huge. It meant that something like Garchomp could attack for a double colourless energy, meaning that Garchomp went from, oh, that's a little bit expensive, to, woo, party time. It was one of the things that made Garchomp so gosh darn good. Now, this isn't Energy Gain. This is significantly better and significantly worse. What is great about this, it reduces the attack cost by a coloured energy, and that's huge. What is bad about this, you've got to be behind on prizes to do so, and that's a little bit of a pain. But it reduces the attack cost by a fighting energy. Now, about the only parallel we have to this at the moment is Thunder Mountain. Now, Thunder Mountain is a great stadium for lightning Pokemon, which reduces the attack cost of lightning Pokemon by 1 lightning energy. Now, we must be clear here, there is only 1 fighting energy symbol in the text for Black Bout. So, it reduces the attack cost of any Pokemon by 1 fighting energy. And you might be thinking, Wassy, if it's reducing the attack cost by 1 fighting energy, it's probably a fighting Pokemon. And most of the time, I would believe you. But you know sooner or later we're going to have a Stunfisk, which is a lightning type that costs fighting energy. It's not happened yet, but we have had a couple of Stunfisk that are fighting type that cost lightning energy. So it's only a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen. But generally speaking, it's for fighting Pokemon. And I suppose we should mention Dimension Valley here, which reduced the attack cost of Psychic Pokemon by 1 colourless energy. This is great. This is absolutely, phenomenally, brilliantly great. I don't think there's any other real way to say it. This reduces the attack cost. It's like energy acceleration, but you don't have to accelerate the energy. And look, it's a tool. And everybody knows that when you've got a tool, Field Blower can be used to remove it, except who cares? Because this is Choice Band, it's not Wishful Baton. What I mean by that is, Choice Band and this do stuff on your turn. You attach a Choice Band, you do 30 extra damage, and if your opponent drops a Field Blower, you don't get to do it again, but you've already done it once, so you're fine. Whereas Wishful Baton does something on your opponent's turn. So you drop a Wishful Baton, your opponent Field Blowers and takes a KO, yet it's over. You've not done anything. That has been a pointless, useless card that has done absolutely nothing. Worst case scenario, you attach it, you reduce the attack cost, you're fine. So the question is, what's going to use this? And look, it's going to sound a little bit disingenuous, right? But bear with me. What is going to use this? Any fighting Pokemon. Now, what you could do is you could go the Marshadow and Machamp route. That could work. And here's the thing. I've said about a bunch of fighting Pokemon recently that they're just too expensive. And there's no real good way to accelerate energy. Well, this isn't perfect, But let's take the first attack. Now, the first attack really jumps out to me here. Revenge. 30 damage if any of your Pokemon were KO'd by damage from an opponent's attack during their last turn. This attack does 90 more damage. The thing is, if you had something KO'd last turn, you might be behind on prizes. So now, you attach a black belt, attach any energy. No, it does not have to be a fighting energy. And all of a sudden, you're hitting 120. That's pretty good. Think about something like Buzzwole. Buzzwole attacks for free fighting energy, and they've got B-String, which accelerates 2 energy from your deck to this. So now, you go B-String and you go Black Belt, and you're up and rolling, and you might be thinking, yeah, but why? Why wouldn't we just go energy? Green Search. Green Search is a card that's seeing a phenomenal amount of play over in Japan at the moment, and what it does is it lets you, as long as you've got 0 Pokemon in play with abilities, it lets you search your deck for 2 trainer cards and put them into your hand. See where we're going with this? You just make sure that you grab a Black Belt and a B-String and you're off. And then, of course, let's say you've got 2 B-String. Well, you don't want to use 2 B-String on 1 Buzzwole. So what you could do here, and you'd need 1 of them in your hand to begin with, but 1 B-String onto 1 Buzzwole, 1 B-String onto another Buzzwole, 1 Black Belt onto the Buzzwole you're about to attack with, you're fighting energy onto the other Buzzwole, and in 1 turn, with 1 manual energy attachment, you're all of a sudden getting 2 Buzzwole up and rolling. Tell me that doesn't sound like fun. But I think probably the dumbest use for this is using it to play fighting Pokemon without playing any fighting energy. Let me give you a couple of examples. I'm not saying you have to play these Pokemon. I am just saying these could work. Now, remember, you've got to be behind on prizes. That's huge. But Lycanroc GX has a great GX attack, 50 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And it does it for a fighting and a colorless energy. Or, if you're behind on prizes, a Black Belt and any energy you feel like. Oh, well, that sounds a little bit better, doesn't it? That could be fun. Or you play, and again, this one's a little bit awkward, but maybe you play a Buzzwole from Forbidden Light, the non-GX, a Baby Buzz. Hey, Nick. Now, first of all, you can use Sledgehammer if you're behind on prizes and your opponent has 4 remaining for 0 energy. Or you can even use Swing Around, but then you'd have to get something like a Rainbow Energy because you can attach 2 to the same Pokemon. That would be weird and wrong. Or maybe you play something like Sudowoodo, because you can just drop it out of nowhere. Just pop it in the active. Let your opponent attack into it. Or not. But at least now, if they do attack into it, you can drop this and you're rolling. You can use this with any fighting Pokemon. And let's not forget that Zoroark's still pretty good and it's weak to fighting. Let's not forget that Pikarom is still pretty good and it's weak to fighting. There are an awful lot of Pokemon that you can use with this. And that's pretty gosh darn tasty, ladies and gentlemen. And fighting's a good type to be right now. I'm still not 100% sure that it's good enough if you're not playing a dedicated fighting deck. Because you see, you got to find it at the right time and be behind on prizes. That's a little bit awkward. Now, the good news is, if you're playing something like Volkner, you can actually search this out with a Lightning Energy, and Lightning decks are going to be playing Volkner. Maybe in the mirror, you play Volkner with, a fighting Pokemon and 1 or 2 copies of this, and you roll. But I don't think it's going to help something like Marshadow and Machamp. Yeah, the first attack's still viable, but this isn't energy acceleration. This can't be stats. You can't use multiple. I really like this in some decks. And I absolutely believe you can use to tech this, but it's got to be done in the right way at the right time. So you can play something like a Lycanroc. You've just got to make sure that you got the Rockruff down and it doesn't get KO'd and you're behind on prizes, and then you can find this. I think this is good, and I think this is fun. I think it's an absolute no-brainer in every fighting deck, and I think you can use it to get some cheeky, just teching going on. But I'm not sure how we can do outside of that. I hope that makes sense. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I think about it. Let's give it 4 Wassies. Because I do think it's a must-play in fighting decks. And I do think there can be some good teching action. But I don't think it's going to transform the game as a whole. I just think it gives fighting decks really nice options. And given that we looked at Fighting Dojo the other day, maybe fighting's getting a bit of a boost. Hey-ho. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, I would very much like to hear from you guys. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. But please do remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays for some more Wassie action. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.